This is Mr. Eugene, and today we're talking about 3 types of women you need to avoid completely if you value your peace, your resources, and your sanity. Not be careful with, not proceed with caution, avoid entirely, because these 3 categories of women will destroy you systematically while convincing you it's your fault. And before we get into this, let me tell you why I'm qualified to give you this warning. Because I've made these mistakes. I've ignored these red flags. I've rationalized why this one is different when she wasn't different at all. And I've counseled hundreds of men through the wreckage of relationships with exactly these types of women. So if you're thinking maybe my situation is the exception, it's not. These patterns are universal. These warnings are absolute. And ignoring them will cost you years and resources you'll never recover. So if you're here expecting nuanced discussion about how not all women are like that, you're right, they're not. But these 3 types are. And learning to identify and avoid them is the difference between building a quality life and watching someone systematically dismantle it. Stay with me. Type 1, women with unresolved father issues. First type to avoid completely, women with daddy issues. Women who didn't grow up with a strong, engaged, positive male role model. This is the most dangerous type because the damage is invisible initially. She seems normal, she functions in society, she might even seem emotionally stable early in dating. But the dysfunction emerges gradually and destroys everything systematically. Here's what daddy issues actually means. It doesn't just mean her father wasn't present, it means she didn't have a strong male role model who demonstrated male value, who engaged her actively, who showed her through consistent presence and leadership what quality men look like. This could mean her father was absent entirely, divorced, traveling constantly, emotionally unavailable. Or it could mean he was physically present but emotionally absent, existing in the house like furniture, never engaging, never leading, never demonstrating masculine value. What this creates is a woman who didn't learn to value masculine qualities. She didn't see strength, leadership, provision, protection modeled positively. So as an adult, she doesn't value these qualities in men. She doesn't respect them. She doesn't appreciate them. And if you're an alpha, if you're accomplished, if you're entrepreneurial, if you bring significant value to relationships through leadership and provision, she won't value any of it. Not because you're not valuable, but because she was never taught to recognize male value. Here's how this manifests practically. You work hard, you build businesses, you provide stability, you lead decisively, you solve problems. All the things quality women value and appreciate. And she treats it like it's nothing, like it's expected, like you're not bringing anything special to the relationship. Because in her childhood, male presence was either absent or taken for granted. So as an adult, male value is either invisible or expected without appreciation. You're not a priority. You're an option. And she can walk away easily because she never learned that quality men are valuable and rare. But it gets worse, because women with unresolved father issues don't just fail to value you. They actively try to resolve their father issues through you. This is psychological projection, and it's catastrophic for relationships. Whatever she needed from her father and didn't get, whatever anger or resentment or unmet needs exist from childhood, she'll project onto you. You become the stand-in for her absent or inadequate father, and she'll punish you for his failures even though you had nothing to do with them. You might be an excellent partner. But she'll treat you like you're failing her because her father failed her. You might be present and engaged, but she'll accuse you of being distant because her father was distant. You might be supportive and generous, but she'll claim you're withholding because her father withheld. You're being punished for someone else's failures. You're trying to fill a void created by someone else's absence. And no matter how much you give, it's never enough because the wound isn't about you, it's about him. And you can't fix it because you're not him. I've counseled men in relationships like this who gave everything, who bent over backwards, who sacrificed relentlessly trying to prove their value, to earn her appreciation, to fill the void her father created. And it never worked because the void isn't fillable by you. It's a wound that only she can heal through therapy and self-work. And most women with daddy issues never do that work. How to identify daddy issues early? So, how do you identify this early before you waste years? Simple. Ask about her relationship with her parents. Early, casually, like you're just getting to know her. What was your childhood like? What's your relationship with your parents? Listen to how she talks about her father. If she describes him positively, if she clearly valued his presence and leadership, if she speaks respectfully about the role he played, green flag. She learned to value masculine qualities. If she describes him negatively or not at all, if he was absent or present but uninvolved, if she dismisses his role or speaks with resentment, massive red flag. She didn't learn to value masculine qualities and she's carrying unresolved wounds. Pay attention to patterns. Does she describe multiple failed relationships with men? Does she describe all her exes negatively? Does she seem to have a pattern of attracting bad men? These are signs she's repeating dysfunctional patterns rooted in father wounds. And here's the critical part. When you identify daddy issues, walk away immediately. Don't try to fix her. Don't think you'll be different. Don't believe that your love or presence or stability will heal her wounds. It won't. You'll just become another casualty in her pattern of dysfunctional relationships with men. The pussified father exception now. One important exception to watch for. Don't confuse women who had engaged fathers with women whose fathers were completely pussified servants. Some women grow up with fathers who were present and engaged, but those fathers served them constantly. Dropped everything whenever daughter needed something, fixed everything, paid for everything, made daughter's needs the absolute priority always. These women learned that men exist to serve them, that male value is measured by willingness to sacrifice for female convenience, and they'll expect the same from you. They'll expect you to drop everything, to serve constantly, to prioritize their needs above everything else in your life, including your own well-being. So engaged father doesn't automatically mean quality woman. If the engagement was him serving her constantly, she learned entitlement rather than appreciation, and she'll destroy you through constant demands for service. The quality woman had a father who was engaged but not subservient, who demonstrated masculine leadership, who taught her to value male qualities, but who didn't sacrifice his own dignity and autonomy to serve her every whim. That's the balance you're looking for. Type 2. Women who need to be rescued, second type to avoid. Women looking to be saved, rescued, or supported. This is the woman who can't stand on her own 2 feet financially or practically, who's looking for a man to solve her problems, to fund her lifestyle, to handle the responsibilities she should be handling herself. Modern society creates confusion here because feminism says women want equality and independence, but observe behavior, not claims. Many women claim they want to stand on their own while actively seeking men to fund their lives. They want equality when it benefits them, equal pay, equal rights, equal opportunities, but they want traditional male provision when it benefits them, men paying for dates, men handling expenses, men solving their practical problems. You can't have it both ways. Either you're independent and you handle your own responsibilities, or you're traditional and you acknowledge that male provision comes with male authority. But modern women want male provision without male authority. They want your resources without respecting your leadership. That's exploitation, not partnership. Here's what this looks like practically. She's always having financial problems, always needs help with expenses, always has car troubles or home repairs or some crisis that requires your money or labor. She never offers to pay for anything. She expects you to handle all dates, all entertainment, all expenses. She's comfortable receiving but never comfortable giving, or she's constantly asking for gifts. Within the first month, she's hinting about things she wants, things she needs, problems that would be solved if you just bought her this thing or paid for that thing. She's testing how much you'll provide, how much you'll sacrifice, how controllable you are through her needs. I didn't fully understand this concept until I was single in my late 30s. I met a guy at an entrepreneurial event who told me he got tired of dating women who needed to be saved, and I didn't understand what he meant initially. But after dating in the modern market, I saw it everywhere. There's a demographic of women who aren't building anything themselves, who aren't developing careers or skills or independence, who are just looking for men to fund their lifestyle, to solve their problems, to handle the adulting they should be handling themselves. And the tragedy is, many men fall for this because they're programmed to be providers. They see a woman struggling and they want to help. They want to be the hero, to be valued, to demonstrate their capability by solving her problems. But here's reality. Women who need rescuing don't value the rescuer. They view rescue as entitlement, as something they deserved, as the baseline of what men should provide. Your provision doesn't generate gratitude. It generates expectation for more provision. How to identify women who need rescuing? How do you identify this early? Watch for these patterns. She never offers to pay for anything, ever. Every date, every activity, every expense, she assumes you're covering it. And if you don't, she expresses disappointment or offense. She talks about past relationships in terms of what those men provided for her, not what they built together, but what he paid for, what he bought her, what he solved for her. She's describing men as utilities, not partners. She has chronic financial problems despite stable employment. She's always broke, always behind on bills, always having emergencies. This signals she's financially irresponsible and expects men to absorb the consequences of her irresponsibility. She's comfortable asking for help but never offering it. She'll ask you to help move furniture, fix her car, handle problems, but she never offers equivalent help to you. The relationship is extractive, not reciprocal. When you identify this, walk away. Don't try to help her get on her feet. Don't think that if you just support her temporarily, she'll eventually become independent. She won't. You'll just teach her that men exist to solve her problems, and she'll keep creating problems for you to solve until you're exhausted and broke. Type 3, women in constant conflict with their ex third type to avoid, women who are constantly fighting with their ex over custody and money. Let me be clear up front. Single mothers aren't automatically disqualified. Many single mothers have healthy co-parenting relationships with their ex. They share custody reasonably. They handle finances maturely. They don't involve new partners in ongoing drama with their ex. But women in constant conflict with their ex, massive red flag. Avoid completely. Here's why. In healthy separation or divorce with children, both parents recognize the children need both parents. They work out reasonable custody arrangements. They handle financial obligations maturely. There might be disagreements, but there's not constant warfare. When there's constant conflict, constant court battles, constant drama over custody or money, something is fundamentally wrong. And usually, it's her. Maybe she's using the children as weapons against him. Maybe she's trying to maximize child support beyond what's reasonable. Maybe she's trying to minimize his access to punish him. Maybe she's so bitter about the relationship ending that she can't move past it. Whatever the reason, the conflict reveals dysfunction, and that dysfunction will bleed into your relationship. You'll be pulled into drama that's not yours. You'll hear constant complaints about him. You'll be asked to take sides. You'll be expected to help fight legal battles. You'll become collateral damage in a war that predates you. Plus, practically speaking, if she has the kids all the time because she's fighting to minimize his custody, when do you see her? You're dating someone who's never available because she's created a situation where she's a full-time single parent instead of a CO parent. Or worse, you become the surrogate father. You're expected to help with her kids, to support them, to parent them. But they're not your kids. You have no authority. You have no rights. You're just expected to provide resources and labor for someone else's children while she fights to keep their actual father away. The separated woman warning side note, never date separated women. Only date divorced women. Separated means she's legally still married. She hasn't finalized the divorce. She's still emotionally processing the relationship ending. She's not available for genuine connection because she's still entangled with her ex legally and emotionally. Men date separated women thinking they're getting in early, that they'll have an advantage once the divorce finalizes. Wrong. You're just becoming the rebound, the distraction, the placeholder while she processes her actual relationship ending. Once that process completes, she'll reevaluate everything, including you. And usually, the rebound doesn't survive that reevaluation. Only date women who are fully divorced and who have processed their divorce emotionally, who speak about their ex neutrally or positively, who have established healthy co-parenting if there are kids, who aren't carrying rage or bitterness about the relationship ending. How to identify women in constant ex drama? How do you identify this early? Easy. Ask about her situation if she has kids. How's the CO parenting arrangement working out? Quality answer. We share custody 50-50. We communicate through an app to coordinate schedules. It's working well. The kids are adjusting fine. Red flag answer. He's such an asshole. We're constantly in court because he won't pay what he should. He barely sees the kids. I have to do everything. One answer shows healthy co-parenting. The other shows ongoing dysfunction where she frames herself as victim and him as villain. And if she's framing him that way to you, she'll eventually frame you that way to her next partner. When you identify constant ex drama, walk away. Don't try to be the hero who helps her through it. Don't think your support will help resolve it. It won't. You'll just become another character in an ongoing drama that never ends. Why these three types are absolute deal breakers. Now let me explain why these three types, Aaron, aren't just yellow flags to watch carefully. They're absolute deal breakers requiring immediate exit. Because all three represent fundamental character flaws that don't improve with time or love or commitment. You can't fix daddy issues by being a better man than her father. You can't fix financial dependence by providing temporarily. You can't fix dysfunctional co-parenting by being supportive. These are patterns rooted in her psychology, her choices, her unwillingness to do the self-work required to function as a healthy partner. And unless she recognizes the problem and actively works to fix it through therapy and behavior change, the pattern continues regardless of who she's with. You're not the exception. You're not special enough to fix her. You're not going to love her into health. You're just going to become another casualty of patterns that destroyed every man before you. Final thoughts. Let me tell you why I compiled these three types into one video, why I'm giving you warnings I wish someone had given me 15 years ago, because I've made these mistakes. I've dated women with daddy issues thinking I'd be different. I've supported women financially thinking they'd appreciate it and become independent. I've dated women in constant conflict with their ex, thinking I could help stabilize the situation. And every single time, it ended exactly how these patterns predict. The daddy issues didn't heal. The financial dependence didn't transform to independence. The ex drama didn't resolve. I just wasted time, resources, and emotional energy on relationships that were doomed from the start because I ignored obvious red flags. And I've counseled hundreds of men through identical situations. Men who ignored the same warnings, men who thought they'd be the exception, Men who believed love or commitment or provision would fix fundamental dysfunction, and it never does. So I'm giving you what I wish someone had given me, absolute clarity about which women to avoid completely. Not nuanced discussion, not be careful, but maybe. Just avoid, walk away, don't engage, because these three types will destroy you while convincing you it's your fault. This channel exists because I got tired of watching men waste years on women who were obviously wrong from the start. I got tired of men ignoring red flags because physical attraction overrode judgment. I got tired of men believing they could fix women who don't want to be fixed. So if this resonated, if you recognize patterns in current or past relationships, learn from it. If you're currently dating one of these three types, end it, not eventually, now. Because every day you continue is another day you're investing in something that will never provide return. Drop a comment about your experiences with these three types. Share what you learned. Help other men avoid the mistakes you made. Subscribe for more truth about which women to avoid and which to pursue. Because this channel will never tell you that love conquers dysfunction. We'll never suggest you can fix women who won't fix themselves. We'll never frame obvious red flags as challenges to overcome. You deserve a quality partner who brings value instead of extracting it, who's emotionally healthy instead of projecting damage, who's independent instead of dependent. These three types bring none of that. Avoid them completely